So, online estate agency, as John alluded to, it is all a bit of smoke and mirrors, really. We've all got our own websites, we all advertise on MyHomeMove, and we all have our own sort of software partners that we use to run our day-to-day business. So, aren't we all online estate agents to some degree? I've been in estate agency now for 17 years, and it's changed beyond all recognition since then, though. I'm sure you all remember the mail-outs that you used to do with stuffing, stamping and sending the mail out to your buyers on your mailing list every week. And I'm sure you remember as well the queues of buyers you had out of your front door on a Saturday of people wanting to be registered on that mailing list. But it all changed, didn't it? And I remember the day it changed for me. It was Saturday on March 2005, sitting in my office. I hadn't had a visitor all day. And it was one of those rugby days. I think England were playing Italy later that day or something, Six Nations. I don't do rugby, so I'm not really sure. And this couple were looking in the window, and I remember willing them to come in. You know, I loved the face-to-face interaction of estate agency. And lo and behold, this couple walked in and said, you know, before my colleagues could drag themselves away from their games of solitaire or whatever they were doing, I jumped up to greet them. Good afternoon, how can I help you today? We'd like to go on the mailing list, please. Excellent, take a seat and we'll see if we can find you something and take some details. Have you identified any areas of Hitchin, where I was based, that you're looking to live? Well, no, we've visited Harpenden and St Albans and Hertford and Hatfield and Welwyn Garden City, and we just thought we'd try the next office up the A1, next town up the A1. Hitchin's probably going to be too far, but you know, we've got nothing else to do this afternoon, so we thought we'd swing by and check it out anyway. Marvellous, I thought. You know, the chances of these guys buying a house in Hitchin, let alone through me, was probably somewhere between, I don't know, 1.25 and 1.75%. Which is somewhere around the fee you guys would have charged to sell their house. Which wasn't even on the market yet in South London. So I had a buyer that was sitting in front of me who frankly wasn't going to buy a house. They bought a house in Hertford in the end, so they didn't buy a house from me. And a seller that I couldn't offer my services to because, like most agents, we were restricted by area. But that was bonkers, you know, absolutely crazy. The people have been doing business across the entire world for the previous 3 or 4 years, down to this wonderful thing called the internet. And yet us estate agents weren't able to do business with people that were more than 2 or 3 miles outside of Hitchin. But now that couple, you know, if they were looking again, they wouldn't go traipsing around dozens of estate agents across 6 different towns. They'd go online, they'd do their research about local knowledge online, and they would be viewing properties that they found online. But ironically, the agents in those 6 towns still wouldn't be able to help them sell their house because most high street agents still restrict themselves by area. When at Hatched, we don't restrict ourselves by area. We've proven that we can sell houses in all 4 corners of the country with the internet. And that's the point, really. You know, the world is changing. The world has changed because of the internet, and the way people consume properties has changed because of the internet. And this industry is going to change as well because of the internet. And I think what you need to think about is, are you going to change with it? Now, you might be sitting there thinking, well, it's not going to change, and maybe it won't, but maybe it will. So one of the main things which I think separates online estate agents from high street, the traditional model, is technology. Estate agents, from my experience, are so bad at taking up new technology and driving it through their business. We are right slap bang in the middle of the tech age, and it is something that you should all be looking at and considering in everything that you do. At Hatched, we see ourselves probably as more of a tech company than we do estate agents. That might be controversial, but I think that's the attitude that's seen us grow by around about 400% in the last 4 years. But we don't use tech for tech's sake. You know, I think that's a mistake people can make quite easily. We only ever do things for the business, the staff, and most importantly, the customer on 3 fronts. It's been mentioned before. Convenience is one of them, ease of use, and speed. So I think that's what the modern consumer wants now. They don't want it, they expect it. They expect convenience, speed, and ease of use. So if you're not one of those tech-minded people, I'm going to start you off with something. It's quick, it's easy, and it's convenient. and it's a piece of tech called PlanUp that we use. It's on the iPad. And before you say it, no, I'm not on commission. Even if I was, you know it wouldn't be very much anyway. But anyway, PlanUp is an app on the iPad. You go to your appointment, you measure up your property, and you draw the floor plan on the iPad, on this PlanUp app. You then select the words that you want to go in your description, and PlanUp basically types the description for you. It's brilliant. Basically, no pen and paper to sketch a floor plan on, no dictating, and no typing. That means no secretary. Just saved you 20 grand. But it's just the tip of the iceberg, though. What about Google Glass? I don't know how many of you have heard of Google Glass. If you haven't, then Google it. I was reading an article at the weekend about Google Glass and its launch. It's probably coming later this year. We think it's going to be about £1,000 for a pair of glasses. And I was instantly thinking about how we could drive that technology into our business. How can we make it quicker, easier to use, and convenient for the business, the staff, and the customers? So how about this? You buy a load of Google Glasses, you hire them out to your vendor. You advertise on RightMove, or Zoopla, sorry, Miles, that there's an online viewing taking place that evening, the same evening that you put the property on the market. You're then driving people to your website, away from the portals, which is what I hear a common complaint, driving people to your website. They then log in, they have to give you their name and their email address and maybe their buying position to be able to access this online viewing. The vendor puts their glasses on and it does a live stream back to the PC they're sitting behind. And the vendor wanders around and points out their nice Farrow and Ball paint that they've used at their dining room and the Italian style, fireplaces or whatever they've done. And maybe questions are coming from the audience, the online audience, asking them, did they paint the lounge with Farrow and Ball paint or whatever? But you could literally have hundreds of people on this viewing, and you wouldn't have had to arrange a single one. You wouldn't have to accompany a single viewing, and you'd have no no-shows. It's genius. It's just an idea, but the point is really there's so much technology at your fingertips, and I think the difficult part is you've got to identify it, which is the hard part. You've got to test it, which can be the expensive part, and then you've got to roll it out if you believe in it, which is the scary part. For me, though, there are a couple of reasons why online estate agency will accelerate and end up dominating in the near future. The first one, perception. John mentioned it earlier. There is this myth that people hate estate agents. People don't hate estate agents. What they hate is the perceived value for money that estate agents offer. Because as far as the sellers see it, both you and I, we put the property on RightMove and we wait for the phone to ring. Now, whether that perception is right or wrong, that is the perception. And you have to change that somehow. And the final reason that I think will go on to dominate is you. Now, I get myself into a few scrapes on various websites and Twitter. You've probably seen them. But the comments we get and the attitude of many high street agents, it does stagger me. It amazes me. The dismissiveness of it is what amazes me. The whole world's been going online for the last 15 years, yet everyone's dismissing estate agencies as if it can't go online, whatever that is. The majority of the comments are, you're no threat to the established model, you'll never scale to mass market, or you'll get all the difficult vendors, you're welcome to them, they're all the difficult ones that I don't want anyway. And it will never work because you have no local knowledge and you won't get the best price for the vendor. That is nonsense, by the way. We'll talk about that later, I'm sure. But this dismissiveness is music to my ears, because what I hear when I see that is, from the agent, is I'm going to bury my head in the sand and I'm going to run my business for the next 20 years the same way as I have for the last 20 years. I'm not going to consider what online agents do or how they do it. I'm not going to learn anything from it, and I'm not going to adopt any of those systems into my business. And listen, by the way, you carry on with that. That's fine by me. But online agents have the opposite attitude, I think. Most of us have worked in the high street. We all know what you do, how you do it, and we've adopted those systems into our online businesses using technology, which has made them better. And that is fundamentally what online businesses across the board do. They pick up traditional systems, they drop them into their online business, and they make them better using technology. Online agency won't dominate because of low fees. It'll help, but it won't be the reason. We'll dominate because of our technology, your dismissiveness, and their perception.